been a while since I benchmarked and reviewed all the latest graphics cards, and with graphics cards being delayed and prices going insane, I think we need to do a re-review, and I've updated my entire benchmark suite for this video, and I've even got access to some DLSS 5 early tech previews, so we'll check that out in a second. Now, one of the biggest, most popular games that has just released is Slay the Spire 2, so I decided to benchmark this on the RTX 5090 at max settings 4K, and I don't usually benchmark early access titles. Sometimes I worry that I'd show like bad performance because it might not be fully optimized yet. But good news, we were able to hit pretty good frame rates here. There does seem to be either like an engine limitation or a CPU limitation right at 500 FPS. I'm kind of thinking it's maybe an engine limitation because that 500 exact number seems to be a little bit suspicious. But overall, despite this being a pretty fast-paced game, 500 FPS, it'd be nice to have got a little higher, but it didn't seem to be affecting my gameplay. I wasn't getting any misclicks on the cards, and things did end up okay. Now, I did want to check out some popular multiplayer titles. Now, I haven't played chess in a really long time, but this is one of the most popular online competitive games. And I had a couple of issues testing it out, though. One is I haven't played chess in a really long time, so it was just it's a little hard to test out competitive games. I had been waiting for Chess 2. I played chess a lot in middle school, but then they don't seem to update the game. There haven't been a lot of patches. Keep waiting on Chess 2. Haven't heard anything from the devs, but thought I'd give it a shot, see if I could get the win. Now, one issue was my performance monitoring capture here. I'm only hitting about 1 FPS, but the gameplay felt more like 60 FPS to me. I couldn't find any too many graphic settings adjustments available either, so maybe they could work on some customizability here. I even tried the NVIDIA overlay to see if I get any performance metrics that way, but despite the overall numbers reading pretty low from the thing, I was actually able to still get a win from a queen sacrifice at the end, so it clearly wasn't affecting my gameplay enough to lose the game. So despite this being a pretty fast-paced competitive title, I was able to get enough performance out of it for the queen sacrifice here. I noticed by moving the queen here, if the rook, I can check, rook takes, but then I have the rook to follow up with the checkmate, and was able to get the opponent to resign. Now, this is one of the games where I was able to get early access to DLSS 5, so I thought I'd try that out here as soon as I got the win. I was thinking through to make sure my queen sack wasn't gonna fail me. Like I said, haven't played much chess since middle school, but anyway, I did try it out here. So I took this screenshot using just traditional rendering, and then I took a look at it using DLSS 5. And my instant reaction is this does definitely have more photorealistic lighting, and it does have, it actually looks like, it's weird because the game doesn't seem to have ray tracing or path tracing, but it seems like by kicking on DLSS 5, it is trying to actually simulate ray traced reflections, which is really impressive. Now, that being said, I do have some negatives for it as well, where if I kind of flip back and forth here, I think you guys will notice that I know it tries to infer the underlying geometry from the 2D rendered screen, but I do think it may have made some miscalculations. One thing is I'm noticing that there appears to be, I'm going to assume this is a queen on this square, which didn't seem to be the case in the original. So the problem with that is by having that mistake with the geometry, that could actually affect gameplay. And another thing I'm noticing is that with the change to the art style, now the characters are more traditionally attractive and do seem to be more photorealistic and more photorealistic lighting. It does seem like some of the scene's a little harder to read. Like I'm a little less sure which square each piece is on. And I'm also less sure which type of piece each of these actually is supposed to be. Some of the pieces look more like the traditional chess pieces, and others look a little bit weird. Also, I do think I spotted some artifacts in the background, like there seems to be a book here that sort of just disappears at the edge of this square. And also, this square internally seems a little bit inconsistent, like it misread this as kind of the edge of the table. And there weren't really books there in the original scene either. So again, this is early access. It's probably going to get improved before launch, but thought we'd at least take a look at that here. I also tested out Mugenics, which is another really popular title. This one is performing a little bit better than Slay the Spire 2 even, getting over 700 FPS a lot of the time. Although the 1% lows did dip to 3 FPS when we transitioned from the menu screen and kind of map screen into the battle. Once we're in the battle though, I did notice the frame time graph does look very smooth. None of the performance drop seemed to be affecting gameplay. It does seem to be another CPU limited title though, with the 5090 only reaching about 59% of its performance, despite being at 4K max settings. So maybe not getting our full money's worth out of the card on this one. Now, this is another one where I tried out some DLSS 5. Now, this one I wanted to try something else, which was, it turns out you could actually run it on your full stream setup too. So this is it's an undisclosed feature. I don't know if I'm breaking a review embargo talking about this, but it's going to be a new streaming feature on your GPU where your entire stream, including you, your video model, and even if you got performance metrics and things like that, all of that can actually get enhanced and look better through a DLSS 5 type algorithm on the applied to the stream itself. So this is what your viewers would see if you were streaming this. I'll do a few back and forths to see if you can notice the differences. I'm noticing that there's definitely more photorealistic lighting. So that's an improvement. But I do notice some issues with maybe artistic intent. One thing I'm noticing is that the original Mugenics game, it does seem to be pretty important to the themes of the game that we are breeding cat warriors. Now, the fact that this cat here seems to have turned into a human does have some weird implications when we think about the cat breeding mechanics of the game. Now, I did have the breeding animations turned off for this since we're simulating a live stream for being safe on stream. But I'm not quite sure how DLSS 5 would handle that situation. So yeah, there's still, like I said, it's an early preview of a new technology. There'll probably be some changes for the full release. But yeah, you still wonder about the artistic intent, even if the things did end up better. Also, I did notice a bit of an error where it seems to have gotten rid of all my performance metrics, except it does seem to have read the 1401 megahertz as maybe a HUD element, although it didn't quite get the number correct. So it seems to be having some issues with that. So I also noticed on the live stream camera some issues where notice that I use a green screen in the background to remove my background and show the gameplay behind me. Whereas it seems like this algorithm has decided that I should have kind of a gamer background behind me. It also seems to have made some changes to my face. I don't know if it's trying to say I wasn't traditionally attractive enough. Also, my hands disappeared. Which is a little bit interesting. So yeah, we'll see if this tech changes at all before the full release. I tested out some other games like Megabonk. This was another one where I was a little bit CPU limited. I also tried out a new game that I never played, but I saw it spike up real high on the Steam charts, despite being an older title. So I actually decided to give a shot to Geometry Dash. I've legitimately never played this game before, but it interested me, looked kind of fun. And I'm getting over 2,000 frames per second in this game. 1% lows are a bit lower at 1,600. Now, this game does require some pretty fast reaction time, so probably not a good game for using like multi-frame generation or anything like that. But overall, I didn't feel like the dips to about 1,600 FPS were affecting my gameplay, and I was only able to get to 90% on this run. But like I said, I'm new to this game, and I'll probably be giving it a better try actually off camera because let's get to the actual part of the video where I acknowledge that this was filmed on April 1st, if you hadn't noticed that yet. And then also, is there any actual takeaways from this April Fool's Day video? Well, I actually have a point, which is obviously these aren't games that we should be benchmarking a 5090 on. And just to be clear, so I'm not like sued by anybody, no, this is not DLSS 5. That was just obviously AI. I asked it to enhance everything, make it more photorealistic lighting, and make the characters more attractive. I don't know. How'd it do? Am I better there? Anyway, the point is, there is actually kind of an underlying moral to this story. Do you notice that With graphics card prices going insane, you can often have this fear of missing out, where it's like, I can't play the latest games on my old hardware and everything's so expensive. I'm not kidding when I say that all of the games that I tested in this video are way better than most of the big AAA releases with fancy graphics. And you can run them on just about anything. And so if you're going to take any actual information away from this video, it's that. There are so many amazing new releases that are indie titles or older games where, they might not be getting a lot of updates. Like I said, still waiting on Chess 2 to come out, not hearing a lot from the devs, but still a pretty fun game. I honestly hadn't played it a lot in years, and I was pretty happy with my victory there, to be honest. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of my takeaway. There's a lot of old great games, new great games that don't take much hardware to run. So happy April 1st, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the video.